Make the darkness tremble. And we just speak your name. Jesus, Jesus. At the sound of be in fear because of his love, because of his name, because of what he's done. Thank you, Lord. When darkness tries to roll, comes to steal the joy I own. Oh, I won't be shaken. It doesn't stand the chance when I stand. In your love, my fear longer has a place to hide. the light. Oh, I won't again, and shame no longer. To leave my past behind. Yeah, my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand a chance when I stand in my fear. And in your love, my fear doesn't take off every chain of a day. There's resurrection power. There's power in your power that can empty out, power that can save your name. And in your love, my fear doesn't stand in his love today. Stand a chance when I stand in your love, in your love. And a chance when I stand in your love, stand in your love.
I'm going to ask you to go ahead and be. Says now, a certain man named Lazarus was sick. Sister Martha lived. Now, sisters sent a message to Jesus. Lord, look, the one who he loved. But to God's glory. So sister and Lazarus. So when he heard again, the disciples replied, Rabbi, the Jewish leaders were just. Anyone walks around in the daytime, he does not stumble because he sees the light. He added, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep. He fell asleep. There's a big difference between so Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I'm going to fall asleep, he will recover. Jesus had been talking about his death, but they thought he was talking for your sake that I was not there, so that you may believe. But let's go to him. Let's go to so we may die with him. Oh. Already, Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem. and Mary to console them over the loss of their brother. Jesus, Lord. But even now I know that whatever the phrase that's established, Jesus replied, your brother will come back to life again. Today, Jesus said, no.
There he is. Hallelujah.
And the one who lives and believes in comes into the world. And when she had said this, Martha went and called. Let's see what's going on out here. The teacher had not yet entered the village, but he was still in the place where Mary get up so quickly and go out. Then they followed her, intensely moved in the spirit. Jesus wept. John 11:35. It's the shortest. But some of them said, this is the man who caused the blind man to see. Now it was a cave, and a stone was placed across it. Jesus said, Lord, by this time the body has a bad smell, because he's been of God. So they took away the stone. Jesus looked upward and said, Father, but I said this for the sake of the crowd standing around here. Come out! The one who had strips of cloth and a cloth wrapped around his face. Jesus, with Mary, had seen these things, and they believed in what gods you've worshipped in your life. That's the thing that I'm going to put my faith and my confidence. Who it is, maybe another God, but I can tell you right now, there is only one God. He is the only one who can defeat death. In fact, himself.
Hallelujah.
He has defeated death and make this happen. So what are you facing? Storms here in a little bit. But what's the most difficult thing that you're too big for God? That's even too big for. What are you facing right now? What are you seeing right in front? Financial. Maybe there's a different or a sibling. Maybe you're. Is this all really real? Is where you're at? I don't know what's going on in your life, but nothing that he will not accomplish for you. Him today. Do you believe that he says who he says you are? Do you believe? The whole situation with Lazarus was, do you believe? Do you believe? Do you believe? You've been like, maybe you felt like God wasn't there. Mary and Martha, who both say, I want you to know something. The question is this: do I say to you, Lord, I don't know how you can ever say, yes, I believe. Fear, trepidation, and a chance in the middle. Just come on. Would you stand to your feet? Just
doesn't stand. Stand a chance when I stand in, when I stand in.
we declare this, that perfect it casts it. Believe today. In your name we pray these things. Thank him for his love today. A little thing that we need to tell you about today. We're excited today. We have only two of you think that's all. Excited. How many of you know that? Isn't that right? By the way, how many of you have ever had? However, the rest of you who didn't acknowledge that, however you've done that, and not a long time. Transition is inevitable, and change is inevitable. It's a love-hate relationship that I have with change and transition. But change comes, it provides opportunity for others, and especially when it comes to ministry. And ago or so, we started talking. Maybe it's been a little longer than that, because I remember Adrian came, and you guys know that. Yeah, that's right. Yesterday was 3 months. Come on, ready? You two are so cute. Anyway, a year and a half now. We had actually been in contact with James Younger. He said, hey, listen, I just want to introduce a fit for you guys. I didn't know and realize how good of a fit it would be. But a little over a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. Right now, with everything that's going on, just have you ever driven to Brea? Yeah. Before that, I think you lived in Pasadena, isn't that right? And so drove up here from Pasadena. But we just feel like the transition is kind of coming. And my heart broke a little bit. I've been him. It's more Fran, really. We really love Fran. So that Francesca would come. No, I'm kidding. But we that our season is coming to an end here at Horizon. Feels good. I think for you, Adrian, here and being part of our family, and bro, I just want you to with much honor in their heart. And very upfront with us, and man, I really appreciate. Get a little fearful, and they get a little afraid. Well, I don't know if I can say that. Integrity and you know that blessing. He's going to be stepping down as our worship leader, stepping across. He'll be here, serving here for 2 more weeks. Is that right? Till the 3rd. Last day here. So, not that we don't love you, but you would come once in a while. We would be honored. Is there anybody that just think that this person would be a good person to? And so Crystal would be a great person, because Crystal is Kelly and I's daughter. I said, I'm not going to. We did it, and I said, this is on you, Adrian, and I'm going to ask you to approach her. Ask Crystal, would you like to be the worship leader here at Horizon? The Lord is in the midst of this. Know that the Lord is this time. So, can we do that? I think.
Married and to like transition, but like
I love you, brother. And using your gifts and your talents for the Lord. She's fantastic. So much, and when he did ask, really? What? How do you do it? I'm excited. I'm nervous. I know I'm excited, and I do feel like the Lord is in it. You know, I do feel like, and you know, encouraging me, which I needed. I'm excited for this new adventure.
Turned it off. Don't talk now. I wonder if you some family business. We need the Lord is leading it, and when it. And so, Lord, we thank you today. His passion for leading. I would even echo the words that he said. Used him to help. And say, Lord, thank you so much. Put it in his heart a year. Love and friendship has grown. That I appreciate him. I appreciate his heart. We bless him. We bless him with every. He and Francesca, or marriage, Lord, they do need to strengthening their marriage, those vows. Thank you for Adrian, and we thank you for the blessing for Crystal's heart and her desire. Worshiper her whole life. The worshiping heart that she had in her. And now, Lord, I pray that as she the seeds that you planted, the seeds of worship, ground around those seeds, so that, Lord, whatever it looks like, would begin to sprout. She would move in all the things that right now, here, in the midst. We pray blessings over Crystal. We pray blessings. Thank you for this time. Thank you, Lord, for transition in Jesus' name. We pray. Transition's good. To halftime, is that all right? We were talking about there's not really any announcements. Oh, there's those, and we'll send everybody to halftime. So here at Horizon Church, years ago we decided that we would take, you know how the meet and greet thing. Well, we decided that we would make that bigger. So into the message. And by the way, we're going to tag team today. Pastor Kelly and I, our trip to Israel, we're going to tag team every Sunday. So, Lord, thank you. Such a blessing to me in my life. The next meal was coming from, and you showed up. Didn't know where we were going to get gas. People in this room. I know there's people in this room that situation, different circumstance, but certainly they would say, Lord, you showed up. So in everything today, we acknowledge and recognize, and we thank you today. Provision be upon this. We pray your hand of blessing be upon this. Then just lifting our hands, singing praises, we're just saying we worship you. Give them and we love you. In your name we pray. Amen? And let's receive together. Welcome to any of you who are visitors. It's your first time. We just want to bless you here at Horizon Church. Amen? And whenever they cue the music like that, that means what is it called? The awards ceremony. They cue the music. I'm done. Got to get up. In our cafe, we've got some coffee brewing over there for you, so go grab some coffee. Hug Adrian and hug Crystal as well, and look forward to this transition coming. God bless you. See you in 10 minutes. Youth, if you're here today, youth, meet in the cafe. Right after halftime, you'll be hanging out with Pastor David. Go get him. So, how many of you, can you fade that music out for me too, Kirsten? Can you fade that music out? How many of you, okay, how many of you, by a show of hands, were not here last week? I would like you, Crystal, would you go get, yeah, I think maybe my battery just went out. Yeah. I just walked into a whole bunch of jokes, right? There's no light on. I think my battery. Because I will need one for Kelly. So we do have something special that we want to give to you. We have just come back from Israel, right? You know, weeks. Kelly and I decided this last week that we were going to share perspective as well, and so we're going to do that in these next few weeks. Then oh there she is. Okay, hi babe. But we would like to give to any of you the cross. You can wear it as a necklace. You can keep it. Purchase them for you. We purchased these crosses in a minute. We purchased these at the tree, and these are actually handmade. They are the Jerusalem, and then gave you those crosses. Do you have those? You did. I didn't finish what I was asking you to do. Yeah, sorry. So. Getting those crosses. I apologize, we weren't prepared for to you guys. Make sure we get those to you before going to the Sea of Galilee today. You have to fly 15 hours to go to the Sea of and so, by the way, let me just say this. to Israel, would you let us know? And we can definitely, in our group in the Pacific Southwest District, we're going in 2021. So if you'd like to, you know, whenever they go, and it's always September. So if you'd like to go, we'd love to. Crash for a moment. Let's pray. Lord, thank you today. What it means. Thank you, Lord. All of us here at church this morning, and even these next few weeks, as we go to the Sea of Galilee this morning. In your name I pray. The most common alternatives are the Sea of Gennesaret, or in some cases, Chinnereth, and the Sea of Tiberias. It is really an oblong lake measuring 14 miles point. Can I push pause right there and say, I did a little research last night. We were at a party to a party, and so we went out to a party and hung out last night at Sunset Hills, and I actually did it's exactly 14 miles to Sunset Hills, okay? So that gives you a long the Sea of Galilee is. So it really is more like a lake. Wide, 7.5 miles wide at its widest point, and 14 miles long. So if you could, half of that would be the length and the width of the Sea of Galilee. Really is, in fact, I said, well, we were just up at the Sea of Galilee. And someone said, oh, you mean Lake Gennesaret? Because that's the way we've read it in the Bible all these years. But it's really not very big, okay? Not very big. Not very big. It lies roughly 650 feet below sea level. I don't know if you knew that, but it's actually 600 feet in the world. It is the major source of water for the entire country of Israel. It is fed by underground springs to the south. Except for the narrow strip of fertile plains on its northwestern and southern shores, and character of a large bowl. Valleys that cut through on an obviously or previously calm and peaceful lake. Egypt is on the southern border of Israel, and the northern empire, so it had Jesus took place on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. At that time, there was a continuous strip of settlement. A first-century Jewish historian reported a thriving fishing industry with 200. How Jesus recruited four of his disciples from the shores of the Sea of Galilee. Miracles took place on the water or in the villages that lined the shores of this important body of water. To that, we woke up very early one morning just to go out and experience a sunrise on the sea. Provoking than a boat ride on the very lake that Jesus sailed with his disciples. Nothing more beautiful than a sunset.
Thank you. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. But what's your favorite movie? Dumb and Dumber? There you go. There you go. How they tie everything together with all the history and stuff. But how many of you, Cheech and Chong? Comedy group that we've labeled Cheech and Chong. We can't have them on the same. How many of you, and I love all that fun stuff, but how many of you like watching like documentaries? When you watch a movie that's based on a true story, like you have a visual to go with the story, you know, History Channel or just your connection to the person. So for me, figure it out. Going to known, it changed something. Especially when we saw the sea, for the computer and stuff, and so I don't even know if any about that, but so I would. So when I physically saw it for the very about Jesus walking on water, about when. No, she's on the. That. Things for me when I saw the water for the very first. Touch it, and I was. It's the Church of Primacy. Roman Catholics or somebody would come in and back to church. Great. But sorry. To give you some visual. Let me read it to you. Let me read it to you from the Bible. So I'm going to go to I got my glasses on so I can see, but I can't see. Bifocal, so I have to until I find the right spot. Better. So in John 21, it says, after Jesus appeared again to his disciples by the called Didymus, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and two. Jesus had already died. He had already appeared to them once, but now he wasn't there again. You know, we always go back to what we're used to when something doesn't go our way. And but he went out. He said, I'm just going to go. So they went out and got into the boat. But that night, Jesus, and he called out to them, friends, haven't you any fish? No, they answered. When they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of a large number. And as soon as Simon Peter heard him say, it is the for he had tied it, towing the net full of fish, for they were not far from the shore, about 100 fish on it and some bread. And Jesus said to them, bring about 153. But even with so many, the nets were not torn. There's a church, and the church was built Christ's table. There's this large rock that's in the middle of this church, and they believe a little cove, and that's where Jesus told them, come on in. When we were, what would it have been like to be, first of all, I mean, I'm the one that goes back, I'm going to go do whatever. I'm the one that kind of retreats a little bit. And so they retreated out on, I didn't recognize, that said, cast your net. Would I have listened? Would I have, any pictures? Huh? Is it connected? Just going to turn the Bluetooth off. Bluetooth is off. Sorry about that. Knowledge into a visual, it became more real into my heart. Thinking, why did I have to come here for this, to allow him to become more real in my life? And I just began to cry thousands of miles to have this deeper understanding of the very spot where you did a miracle. Everything that God has done, it just opened up for me and it changed. And I don't know if it's because of, you know, that I was asking the deeper questions with, where am I? Am I for me right now? Because I'm finding out things that I didn't realize or I didn't know. We need to rethink again because we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. Is and how insignificant I am, but the everything for me. I want you, me, word coming alive with pictures and videos. Hopefully it's, we might be able to show you the video at another time because it's not coming, and the videos don't come in the same way, and so that's probably for us and my mindset. I've heard that story. 150 too many fish for me, But so found out, I didn't know this, and at some point we may get to show you the video of the number 153 is very significant. Why, you may ask? Every letter has a deeper meaning. So for us, A is what? A. Different parts of the word has different meanings. It has a deeper, not just a sound, it has a deeper meaning. Also in Hebrew, the aleph is one, the next one is bet, and so forth and so on. When they get to certain numbers, the value comes up to 50 or certain. For the Jew, for him, when Christ came and did 150 letters, and he put them together, because they're big on numerology.
Hallelujah.
So for them, Christ said, I am God, by 153 fish coming through. Isn't that crazy? Then we think we know. We think we know. And so I want to encourage you for what God is saying here in the scriptures. Let the scriptures come alive to you. It did for us. God is here. We're here. And his word says, wherever God, he is God.
With his Talmudin, I'm reading out of the Hebrew Bible. A disciple, Talmudin would be the plural of that. So Talmudin, one day Yeshua got into a boat. Okay. So they set out, and as they were sailing, I felt that way a couple times myself. Great danger. They went and woke him, saying, Rabbi, Rabbi. They calmed down, so it was still. And then he said to his Talmudin, who can this be, that he commands even the wind and the water, and they obey him? We were in Sea of Galilee. We stayed in a hotel in Tiberias. Site that we were going to was as we went to a location. Got in this boat, and it was a motorized boat, and we took off and we went out, and they turned the engines off in the boat, and it was just and so calm, and I remember sitting out on the boat. In fact, they then actually led us in worship, and we were out in the middle of the sea, and they turned on some music, and this worship leader started leading us. How great is our God? And he's singing it in Hebrew. People are on this boat, and like it's rocking our world. How many of you praises go up in Hebrew? What? Weeping together. We look at all of our friends there weeping, It's calm right now. But there was in fact, we just read the story. Jesus takes the rises rises. And by the way, they say that storms can rise up and then all of a sudden a storm will start to brew. Afternoon. Tiberias, every afternoon the wind would start to just howl over the top of the Sea of Galilee from our hotel room. Over the Sea of Galilee. I can see how this story could become, like Pastor Kelly said, and then we're out on the lake and now it becomes real because the disciples and they're out on the lake. Peace. Be still. Obey him.
Amen.
And it says there that they were in awe. I have a question. When was the last time you were awestruck? When was the last time you experienced? Be still. Oh, there it is. Right there. There's a picture of us praying right by the Sea of Galilee. The primacy is, and that's where he was. That's maybe not cute legs, but anyway, that like cast your nets on the other side of the boat, and it's right there, that the middle of the sea is where the storm arose, and they were. Just you picture this, the movie's coming alive, hopefully, to you. An awestruck moment. Gracie, she was born premature. She was very sick. Half months in the hospital. Ever in our lives. We didn't know. And I remember she was down at, and then we'd get on our way back and we'd be driving back, and then Krista would come. We're over in Arizona. We were at one of our conventions, our pastors' conventions, and called or sent a text or something and said, hey, listen, please. And worship is happening, and we're thinking to ourselves, what in the world? Us. I mean, we love you, God. We worship. It was a rough time. It was a rough season. And I'll never forget one day I was praying, and I'll never forget that out, and there was just storm cloud. I mean,
Yes.
like I need a jacket. You know what I'm saying? So I remember it was kind of like the same weather, like water or something. I realized. Thank you, sir. And I remember I remember thinking, Lord, this is this. Have you ever experienced storms like that in your life? I mean, Virginia a few years ago, a storm started blowing. Scared. I mean, it was looking pretty crazy. Wind was blowing in our trailer, and I remember the wind started picking up. I was like, babe, I hope we're going to be okay, right? I've been there too. I've experienced that. Like we read about in the storms that I just talked about, to the storms of life. times, yeah. Just like the situation with Gracie. And I remember this. I prayed. We're going to pray. But I remember praying in my bedroom, open. Wind was blowing and it was cold outside. Will this storm pass? You fallen asleep, Lord? How ridiculous. That God would and die in a boat? How anti way of messing with our brains and causing us to think things. Messiah. Jesus. Jesus. How are you getting out of this one? How else reserved for Jesus? It wasn't his time yet. I'm praying in my bedroom. I look up. There's clouds. Lord, don't you care? I mean, I went right to. Don't you care about our daughter? Don't you care about me? And the Lord said this. I'm the God of the. And he said, I want you to rest in me. And you. She's very alive. Fun. And I fell asleep. I remember I woke up and when don't you care about me and my family? The storm was this high desert. That's weird. How many of you know it blows? It was the weirdest thing. Clouds were gone. Clouds were gone. But it was clear and the wind had diminished. Today. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And I want you to hear the worship that's going on. But listen. There'll be a moment where you say, I don't know how there's ever going to be peace. I thank you that you're the God of the storm. Today, would you close your eyes with me? Jesus. To be there, to put my feet in the. I didn't walk on water, you did, but I sure tried. Go out in the boat in the middle of the sea and the God of peace. And while there may be jobs and there may be storms that we don't know how. And there may be sickness. That's a huge storm for so many storms that are raging all around. Would you come and give them a little glimpse of peace? bedroom when I looked out the window and there's peace. Jesus, we need. And I pray this, Lord, would you, where the storm, would you step out and that over us today? So a little less than 2,000 years ago, maybe. I'm in awe of you, Jesus. Like they were awestruck again by you. Help us to be in awe of who you are. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for bearing with us. Do apologize for that and not being able to do that. But your face. All right. God bless you guys. Have a great week this week. We'll see you next week. Next week we're staying in the Sea of Galilee. So I want to give you your cross. Come up here. We'll give you your cross. Your Jerusalem cross. Okay? Come on up.
I'm not really certain. Why do I almost
See the cross. Come up. If you didn't